Final Fantasy VII Rebirth made me fall in love with the Final Fantasy VII series. I played Remake Intergrade, and it actually discouraged me from wanting to play Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. That was 2 years ago, but I played Crisis Core recently and enjoyed it. And I made a video about my experience, which you can check out, link down below. Crisis Core for me was an encouraging experience, and led me to deciding to pull the trigger. So I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and this game, as I said before, has me head over heels for the series now. Rebirth inspired me so much that I actually already started replaying Remake Intergrade to see if my opinion on the game will improve, and I think I'll enjoy it much more this time around. I can't quite put my finger on what changed between 2 years ago and now, but all I know is I am all in on the Final Fantasy VII series, and can't wait for the next game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is really not what I expected at all, and I think going into the game blind, knowing nothing about it was the best thing I could have done. So I'll stop you here and just say, if you haven't played the game and intend to, or are in the middle of playing it, I highly recommend you come back to watch this after you play through the full game, as I will be talking about the game in full, spoilers definitely included, though I will leave story talk for last. To make it easier to find this video though, be sure you subscribe so it's not hard to find your way back, and if you enjoy the video, then help me out, because I set a goal at the beginning of the year for 1,000 subs, a lofty goal for my small channel. But on top of that, if you enjoy playthrough videos, co-op play, all that stuff, then go check out my second channel that I recently opened up, STATSplays. I originally did all my co-op play videos and things with my friends, of us acting like idiots. I originally did all that on this channel, but I started doing talking videos, which kind of took the priority of this channel, and I want to keep it the priority on this channel, and I felt like those videos were kind of intruding on this channel at this point, so I opened up that channel, so that way they're separate, and it just made sense. Again, if you enjoy that kind of stuff, if you want to go check it out, I have a few repo videos up right now, and that channel won't be as consistent or as priority as this one, but I will definitely be doing it because I just enjoy making those kinds of videos for me and my friends to watch back. It's funny for us, and hopefully it's funny for you guys as well, so be sure to give that channel a sub as well. But anyways, back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I want to start by talking about just the overall size of the game and the maps. I was stunned when I first got out of Com. I think that's how it's pronounced. There's a K in there, so it confuses me, because, yeah. The first town you start in, though, Com, I think, when I walked out and saw the whole region and looked at the map, I couldn't believe how much larger the game was compared to Remake Intergrade. Then later to find out there were multiple regions, absolutely blew me away. The open world activities in this game were really fun, which surprised me because some were basic Ubisoft formulas like the towers, but that's not to say they didn't have some original stuff too. The thing that comes to mind first is Queen's Blood, and this was oh so much fun. This Queen's Blood is amazing. Queen's Blood, if you don't know, is a card game in which you'd find challengers to face against in each region, and beating them would typically earn you a new card, which was really cool because you could build your deck, and the synergy and fun that came with this, again, it just blew me away. Square Enix is outstanding when it comes to making minigames. The frog minigame, it took me far longer to get that last rank than I'd like to admit, but honestly, I wasn't even mad. I was just laughing a lot, having tons of fun, streaming to my friends to watch me struggle in the Discord. The Moogle minigame, so cool. Especially because I didn't even know this existed until like chapter 10. And then to find out they turn into a merchant. I mean, I spent 66 hours in this game, but I easily could have turned it into over 100 hours if I wanted to. And a part of me really did want to just 100% the whole game. I hit that wall in chapter 12 where it warns you about the progress and, you know, saying be sure to do everything you want before this point because blah, 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 everything gets like influenced past this point. I actually went to 100% 2 regions once I hit that point. Corel and the Grasslands. I'm sad to say I did absolutely nothing in the Meridian Ocean, so I definitely want to go back and do all there is to do at some point. I loved all the regions the game took you through, and it was cool to go to some familiar places, like Gungaga if you played Crisis Core, and even some places mentioned in Remake Intergrade, like the Gold Saucer. Corel has to be my favorite region. With how much there is to do there, it's an absolute blast, and yeah, there's just a ton to do, but choosing a favorite region in this game, it's difficult. I mean, Corel is amazing, but each region has its own set of reasons to stand out and be a favorite, for sure. Cosmo Canyon is one of the ones I think I spent the least time on, and it still had this lasting impact. Just left a lasting impression on me, leaving me feel like I want to go back and 100% that region as well. So the maps were great, and the miscellaneous side stuff was fun, but what about side quests? For me, these were hit or miss, to be honest. Some I had plenty of fun with, while others I couldn't wait to be over. There are definitely a handful of side quests I felt the game could have left out of the equation because this game did not need fluff side quests when it already has a ton to do, and plenty of side quests / events that actually do add to the story of the world and characters. I think of one in Gungaga to get this old lady her chickens back, and you have to use this noisemaker to get them back, with what were some obnoxious mechanics to make this quest semi-challenging. It just felt like a time waster, and the best part was the end with a little joke about eating them after you saved them, but it definitely wasn't worth it. I did love the Chocobo quests, and for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, each region you had Chocobos for a mount, but you had to wrangle one up, and each time you got to a new region, you had to wrangle a new one for that region to have your mount. These quests were fun little puzzles that I sometimes struggled with more than I am proud of. First, when I saw you had to wrangle one in each region, I thought it was kinda lame, but I honestly had lots of fun with the quests to get one each time, and it made sense, because the Chocobos in each region had their own unique ability, like climbing rock walls, so there were different types you would use, which added to the traversal that much more in these vast open regions. Honestly, the only thing that I didn't like about the Chocobos, which did lead to me using them less, was that the music would change when you got on a Chocobo. It's almost like, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, the Sonic Unleashed combat music thing. Not nearly as bad, it's not as often, but it's similar, where I wish there was like a toggle to turn that off and just let the music when you're normally roaming play when you get on your Chocobo, instead of the music changing to the Chocobo riding music, because I kind of preferred the calming open world music over the Chocobo music, and I would have liked a toggle to just turn that off and just have some chill open world vibey music playing when I'm riding around. Outside of that, love the Chocobos, but it did lead to me using them less, I will completely admit that. Now we can get into the combat. The combat was pretty much the same as Remake Intergrade, and it's funny because I even thought that the hotkey menu with L1, I thought that was new to Rebirth, but going back to Intergrade I found out it was in that as well, which makes me question even more so why I enjoy the combat so much more now than I did back then 2 years ago. I think a large portion of why is honestly just the fact that I understand it so much more this time around. I even said back then that I didn't swap in Remake Intergrade, I didn't swap using the different characters enough, and I think you're supposed to take advantage of that, especially in Remake Intergrade. In Rebirth, it feels like you can get away with just playing as Cloud a lot more, except for the times where it forces you not to. But in Remake Intergrade, I felt like you definitely should have taken advantage of swapping the characters more often. But getting back to Rebirth, I played through this game switching the difficulty back and forth between normal, easy, and dynamic, seeing if I could understand the difference between them and if it had any impact on the way I'd play. I did play through the majority of it on easy though, because at some point in the story I just wanted the story. Regardless, I could definitely tell that playing on easy allows you to skip a lot of side stuff that I think on normal would have had more of a purpose. I barely touched the combat simulator, but I definitely think eliminating the fiends to make the combat simulators easier and then doing those and getting new summons and stuff would be really handy for normal difficulty. Normal difficulty also makes more use of the maps, and what I mean by that is there are broken rest stops that you can discover and raise the sign to add as a fast travel location. But to use these rest stops, to recover, you will need a cushion to sit on, and those will be either bought or rewarded from chests and other miscellaneous things. The purpose of these broken rest stops is to recover HP and MP. Enemies are definitely more spongy on normal, and I think overall if you really enjoy the game, all its side content, or at least most, then normal might be what you want. Normal makes sure to make more use of everything the game has to offer, and it just feels like a more complete and synergized experience on normal. Now, I'm not crapping on anyone that wants to play on easy, because as I said, I played mostly on easy myself, but normal makes the side content feel a little more rewarding and purposeful, whereas on easy, you can pretty much ignore that stuff and fly through the story without a hitch, which is great for when you really are fiending the story. When you just want the story, that's great. For people that really just want that out of the game and don't care about much of the other stuff, I think that's amazing that they made a difficulty that feels perfect for that. But I definitely think for the people that are more enthusiasts of this game or really love this game, normal difficulty is going to be for you. And there is also a hard difficulty, which you unlock after beating the game, which makes you really rely on your characters and strategize, as the blue rest stops, I believe, only restore HP, and you have no items, which when I read that, it sounds crazy to me, but this is where the strategy really comes in, because you now have to rely on your MP and spells, which means the characters you choose to take into combat has a lot more weight to it, and having cushions on hand is crucial since the broken rest stops are the only way to get MP back. Yeah, the hard difficulty for me, I mean, I guess I would try it. The cool thing about the hard difficulty actually that I forgot to mention in this is that it locks you in for that chapter. If you can get through it, or if you want to load back, you can change it back to normal or whatever. But it locks you in. Once you're in hard mode for a chapter, that's it. You cannot change it. You either have to load back to before that chapter or beat that chapter, and then you can change it back to normal or easy. But yeah, hard mode, I don't want to say it's like a definite no for me. Maybe I would give it a shot, but it sounds pretty dang intimidating. One of my friends would for sure like that mode. He knows who he is because he just likes to challenge himself, but I don't know, man. That's a tall order. Anyways, the story is up next, and I highly recommend playing the game before hearing this portion of the video, but I super appreciate anybody that stuck till this point, and if you want to leave now and come back for the rest later or whatever, totally respect it, totally get it, but here we go. The story was absolutely amazing, as I expected, since it's what made me like Remake Intergrade to begin with. It literally carried me through that playthrough. I mentioned how I played Crisis Core, which led me to want to play this game, and I think Crisis Core really added to my experience with the story. I wonder if I would have called the story for Rebirth so soon if I hadn't played Crisis Core. The play with timelines, or worlds, is really interesting to me, and I can't wait to see where it all goes in whatever the next part is for Final Fantasy VII. I also wonder what the heck that thing is that he attached to his sword at the end to make it turn black. I'm guessing it's showing some timeline where Cloud uses the black materia, or something like that, I don't know. I also wonder what enables Cloud to have these sorts of mental glitches to see glimpses of other worlds. My guess again is something to do with the Mako, but I think we'll find out a lot of these answers in the next game. But back to my thing about Crisis Core, what I was gonna say is I played Crisis Core and made that video and talked about, I was unsure if Crisis Core was canon, not canon, playing with timelines. I really was just confused as to what was going on with that, because I remembered the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade and hypothesized that maybe there's some play with worlds or timelines or something because of Crisis Core. And then somebody commented on that video, and I'm not trying to crap on anyone here, but he commented saying something like Crisis Core isn't relevant, kind of just making it sound like it's not even part of this story. But from what I'm seeing, it looks very much so part of this story. I thought that was the whole point of why they remastered it as well, was because it fit in between Remake and Rebirth. Like, it kind of just fit to play it and understand that story and then play Rebirth. And when I played Rebirth, after playing Crisis Core, a lot of it made sense. Some of it still seemed a little bit changed up, of course, but it still led me to the conclusion, which I think is accurate, of a play with worlds or timelines, hence where Aerith is in the end of Rebirth. So I guess I'm asking again at the end of this one, is Crisis Core something connected to these two? Completely not relevant, but also because of the timeline play in the new one makes it look relevant? What's going on? I'm really just genuinely confused. I guess I could look it up myself, but I don't want to read original Final Fantasy VII stuff and then possibly get anything ruined for me, because I want to just play the new one and get the full story. I know they're changing some story beats, but still, like, I don't want to get anything ruined for me, so I'm like afraid to look up Final Fantasy VII stuff. But anyways, if you're still wondering how I felt about this game, it is legitimately one of my new favorites. Like, way up there in the tiers, dude. Like, Persona 5 is one of my favorites. BG3 is one of my favorites. Like, it's up there. It's not above them, but it's up there. And I freaking love this game. And I definitely plan to load up that save where I beat the game and do the chapter select and load through. Actually, I want to pause for a second and just talk about that chapter select and the way it works, because it's very not intuitive. Like, it's just weird. Like, the way it works is you have to, after you beat the game and you want to do the chapter select that unlocks from beating the game, you have to go through the main menu, load up your save, make sure that you keep that save of you beating the game. I made 3 of those saves just so I wouldn't overwrite one or anything and then just completely lose it forever. You have to keep that save, load it, go into the options menu, and then go to chapter select. And you can't do it from the main menu. You just have to load that save. That's a complaint from me. I didn't like that. I don't know why there's not just a straight up chapter select in the main menu. Really weird to me. I don't know if there was some technical jargon reason why. Yeah, I don't know. But aside from that, I freaking adore this game, dude. Like, just amazing game. Better than I ever could have expected. It literally, again, it made me fall head over heels for the Final Fantasy VII series. It made me want to go back and play Remake Intergrade that I wasn't so hot on, and I've been a lot more into it. This game, I love it. And yeah, I'm definitely eventually going to use that chapter select, like I was saying, load up some chapter and take off from there, and then just 100% the game. I legitimately just want to 100% the game. Do all the, even though I said like some of the side quests are hit or miss, I want to find all the ones that I really enjoy, because when they're good, dude, they hit so hard. Like, they're so good. And some of them legitimately like have character building in them and stuff. Again, like the ones that aren't so great, like, yeah, they, you know, it's disappointing. You could leave them out. Like, you don't need the fluff, but such a good game. The combat, like everything about this game, I just love this game. So with that being said, and how much I love this game, that's all my thoughts. If you've played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, let me hear what you think down below. And if you've stayed till this point, you're an absolute legend. I super appreciate you. And if you have any clues with the Crisis Core thing, let me hear it down below. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.